Hey guys, welcome to the all new channel called The Mini Dude. I'm here painting some easy to build primaris right now. I just got my red coat put on. Now if you're just starting out like I am using some cheap Walmart paints. They're acrylic of course, but they actually work pretty good. I can grab a mini that I just painted in just a light coat of black. So you can see the details pretty good. Even though this cheap paint, it's non-par with what you'd get, say, from a Games Workshop store like their Abaddon Black or anything, but this works pretty good. You know, you get that matte finish, you get a decent texture. Some other acrylic paints will stick to it pretty nice. So I'm just starting out. I just got into this. I haven't been into Warhammer 40k painting as long as some of the other YouTubers you'll see on here. So bear with me. My setup is pretty new. I am working with standard to mediocre paints, so right now I'm just painting up some blood angels, or at least trying to. As with this, you got to get some good coating on there, at least a lot of decent layers. This guy, to get this red, I believe I did maybe about 6 to 8 coats of red on top of a layer of black. You can see the black under there. Now, I didn't use a primer on any of these. I'm just trying it without the primer. I do have some acrylic sealer that I could use later, you know, just to see how it goes. If it doesn't hold too well without it, then no big deal. It's acrylic. This washes off fairly easily, but once it does stick, you know, you can always just use some rubbing alcohol. You know, this is a good hobby to get into, especially during the whole situation outside. I wish you guys luck and stay safe on that right now. But this channel isn't about that. This channel is going to be about us beginners and the journey that you'll follow me through on painting these little guys. You know, I just bought the new starter set, the first strike to be exact. So, and I got some previous Reavers before this on some cheap, you know, altogether about 30 to 40 bucks for what I paid. Actually, it was a tad bit more. It's a lie. But yeah, so you gotta go over it quite a few times to get a nice satisfactory red, and that still isn't the best red shading. But just time and patience will tell. It goes from this black to this. This is kind of like your midway through-ish, kind of. Before, middle, after. If you can see that. It's not too bad, I might say myself. I kind of thin my paints. I have this little squeeze bottle. You don't have to do that. You can always just dip your brush, dip your finger, have a little toothbrush cap. I was using a little empty white cap. I put some water in there, put a little bit of paint, and I just kept thinning until I reached the consistency I liked. But upgraded, so now I got this old lunch lid I used to use, but it works perfect for my paints. So it's a win-win, really. I'm sure you've already seen Mini Maniac, Goobertown minis, and Midwinter minis. They're all really good YouTubers. They make some great videos, have awesome paintings, of course. And I'm sure you might be able to tell or not, either or, that I get some of my painting ideas from them. They have really good tips about what to do for beginners and how you should do it, of course. But I'm kind of taking my own narrative and actions on this one. Just testing, seeing what works, what doesn't. yeah, I'll go ahead and get a few more layers on this guy, paint up his arms and stuff, his backpack, and I'll be back with you guys. See you shortly. Alright, and we're back. Thank you for sticking with us there. So you might get these arms and stuff that are multi-sectioned and whatnot. You know, you got these little pegs on the outside. Just a tiny bit of room to paint. So right now I use these alligator clips. I was working on my car the other day. I accidentally shorted out the copper wiring in there. So I stripped it, and now it's a perfect mini holder. Just clamp it onto that little peg or stick or whatever you're using on the outside of your mini. That gets hidden, of course, because this will add some teeth marks. See? Right there. We'll add teeth marks, but that's fine. It's covered up, so I'm not worried about it. So you don't really gotta worry about that. I mean, if you want to go pristine, then by all means, you know, get the whole stand, battery, you know. I'll show you. You'll see them, they'll glue it to one of these or any of the caps, sort of. With these, it's a little harder to do that, you know. If you got clay, you know, you're doing professional, great. But if you're just like me, you know, low budget, just starting out, these are perfect. Stuff around the house, perfect. Reuse what you're possibly going to just throw away. You know, no need to just keep buying the fancy stuff. Like, I know Game Workshop, they have their own take on the mini holding. You know, you stick them to the base, then you start painting. Sometimes I can find that a little irritating. You know, because if you're using an airbrush, I am going to be upgrading. I'm going to be getting an airbrush myself, hopefully. But if you're going to be upgrading to said airbrush, a lot of it can, you know, that GW official holder that you just spent $20 on for like one or two of them, it's just gonna get annihilated. Or if you're planning to just spray paint one on said stand, then again, it's just gonna get annihilated. And that's why I like using this. You know, just take a toothbrush or any scrubber, even a rag, really. Like, I got this microfiber towel. I just use that to scrub it a little bit, and it's perfect. It's silver. Do as you please to it. Now, some of you might say, "Oh, you're drowning out the details." I know. I'm new to this. I barely just got into it. You know, if you guys have any good tips that I could possibly use, then feel free to drop it in the comments or leave it a like if you think this video is kind of entertaining. Either or. You're just going to hear a lot of silence and just small brush strokes here and there to try and fill in these black gaps. And yes, I did do it in black for the first layer. You might have seen that in the first part. You know, they're going to say, "Oh, do it in gray, green, white." I'm not doing anything fancy. Just trying to get some Blood Angel colorings going. I just want to make sure I got a decent layer on there, so I can have a decent little tabletop army. Nothing too fancy. Just take your time. If you're like me, you know, you got a lot of stuff to do. You want to just come home, relax, no problem. That's where this comes in. Just pop a couple of these minis out. Start taking up light painting. You know, you don't gotta get all fancy with the washes, the afterglows. Like, I'm sure you've seen where it has that multi-stage coloring. I'm sure you've seen those videos. If not, no problem. I can leave a link in the description, or you can just type it in. But this is simple. This is just simple painting. You know, here's somewhat of a finished product. And this Walmart stuff does leave actually a decent texture. It's pretty smooth, actually. You know, you don't gotta worry about it having a rough, weird, slimy, or sticky texture. Now, my first minis I painted, I could grab them here in a second. They kind of, you can really feel the layers on them. But on these guys, you know, these are my second little squad of Primaris minis I'm painting. I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad. I suggest just take your time, because see, you got these little, Here, this is easier to see. You got these hands and whatnot. I just paint this, the hand guard, red, and then leave the fingers kind of black. I'll detail those later. But yeah, just take your time. I mean, if you want to get fast, you know, there's always videos out there for the fast. This is for the beginners. This is for the people that just want to go home, have a nice little painting session, do what you gotta do. You know, I'll be starting up a Patreon soon, probably too. So if you wanna further these painting videos, then by all means, I'll leave a link in the description and in the future. My next goal is I'm sure you've seen it or at least heard of it. If you're getting into this, you might not have yet. I do suggest you get primaris, which is these guys. They're started from 8th edition. They're coming out in 9th edition. 9th is probably dropping soon. I don't remember the exact date. You can find that all over the web right now. But those primaris are the ones to pick up now. Don't waste your money on the older ones, not unless you're just doing it to collect. Then by all means, pick whatever one suits your heart. Like right now on my shelf, I got some older Space Wolves. I got some older, what are they called? Corn Berserkers, that's what they're called. Got some more of those older guys. I got a random five squad off eBay of Space Wolves. They're like a little put together random race. It's just how they sent it to me, really. And don't be afraid about getting some fingerprints here and there. It's going to happen. You know, no one's perfect. Unless you can magically take one piece off and put it on the other. Or you got 1,000 of these alligator clips and you don't have to touch the part by itself. You can just change alligator clips, really. I only got 2 in front of me right now. My other ones are in my little tray on the shelf. You know, nothing fancy. I've had this black brush for a while. It's Plaid brand. I believe Plaid is, I don't know, it's Walmart brand actually. It is, here we go. This brand, see? And this is Walmart's brand, obviously. It's it's $2.50 for this one, this bottle, I believe. It's 92 cents for this bottle and about $2 for these bottles. I like these ones a tad bit more because they have a nicer finish to them after you put them on. But this is good for obtaining a color like that. Here, I got a multi-changing light so I can show you what it looks like in different lightings. See? Cool blue, you still got a nice black. Harsh orange, you still got a decent black. So, I say go with this color. You know, they say, oh, get the model paints. This is pretty close to a model paint if you're going cheap, budget-wise. You're the beginning college student, has nothing else to do, no problem. You know, just use these colors. This brand in particular, actually, sorry. Plaid, or plaid. I believe it's plaid. Either or. But these are the ones that I use, and I do kind of recommend them if you have a budget to stick with. If not, by all means, buy GW. Army Painter. There's some other ones I can't remember. And yes, you will see me using a lot of paint, like this. Do not worry, I do use the majority of it, kinda. And I don't have a set amount of how many drops I put. I just put it to what I think is gonna look good. What I think is going to cover it. Because if you do it straight out of there, if you could do it straight out of there and it looks professionally painted, then kudos to you. But I like to kind of water it down. That's what everyone else says too. It's just a tad bit easier to work with and get decent brush strokes to where it doesn't look all splotchy everywhere. And I will be doing a wash later of that same black I just showed you earlier in a bigger bottle. I'll be doing a wash later. Right now I'm just getting the main color set on there. I use these bigger brushes to apply my thicker, more denser coats, just to try and get the color on there and then start painting over that to get that color better. You know, on the backpack I suggest do it lightly, just because there is so much detailing and you don't want to drown out details, of course. You know, if you don't mind details, you just want to make it look satisfactory from a distance, then by all means, spray paint it even if you want. You know, you don't gotta be perfect Picasso on these things if you're just looking to get a table ready in, say, a week or less. You know, just go at your own pace. No rush. GW is gonna be sending out these minis like crazy. And Warhammer is definitely not going down or going away anytime soon, so I think it started up in the early 90s. I want to say late 80s. Could be wrong, of course. Don't quote me. There's videos on that, historical videos, you could say. So, you know, you want to go find out when it started? Just Google it. And leave a comment below if you want me to start up a Discord chat. Then we can set up ways or figure out anything. You know, if you have questions about how I do the painting. I have pretty much already explained it all in this video of how I do it. I have taken inspiration from Goobertown Minis, Midwinter Minis, Miniac. You know, all those guys are pretty cool. They make great videos. And there is a couple other channels I've watched. Can't exactly remember the names at the moment. See, and this red apple multi-surface folk art that I got from Walmart, about $2 per bottle, 2-ounce bottle. Get 59 milliliters. This is a nice red you can get. I'm sure there's better. I have a bunch of reds on my shelf, but this is just like the one I use. Just because it has a nice, satisfactory, more of a Blood Angel red feel to it. And it dries fairly quickly. You know, if you have like one of those little USB fans plugged in, it'll more than likely dry. Just set a piece down, pick up the other one that you just got done painting, you'll be fine. You know, you can only apply so much of a layer, and then it'll start ripping back the little bit you just applied. So I suggest to paint a little bit. Like paint one coat, tiniest bit of coat if you have to, and then stop and then pick up a different piece of the same mini, of course. Or a different mini. You know, it doesn't have to be the same one. You know, do it as you feel. I'm leaving his face uncovered, the black there, because I'm going to do some detailing to it. And yes, his head is a little loose, just because I'm going to have to get in there, see? Get down in there to reach with my little brushes, but that's easy enough. And I can show you a little later, because these guys, they're already red, so it's hard to see the purity patches. So I can show you a little bit later what I do. I just paint them gold and make my own synthetic parchment paper looking. Go and let these guys dry, let that layer dry on all of them, and come back a little bit later. You know, just start on this guy if you want to. Apply another little coat to this guy. You know, whatever you feel like doing while you wait for that other one to dry. No problem. I always just apply light touches here and there. Because see, it'll look nice and coated. But if you can see that here, let me get my other little brush so you can see it. Right there. See, it starts fading out a little bit. That's That's because it's a little bit harder for me to reach the brush in there. I do have smaller brushes, but I like using this one to apply my layers to my bigger areas, like the legs, arms, chest, torsos areas, you know, just to get the color in there. See? And I could do another video a little bit later showing... I mean, Miniac's already made the video on how to treat your brushes. If you want to see it on this channel, no problem. That's easy enough. Don't forget to do the durability test. Throw it on your paint pad to make sure it's good and glued. You can't forget that. Because I'm sure that one guy's going to throw him off the table and, you know, you don't want his backpack or gun to go flying off, you know. Gotta make sure he's durable. They're Space Marines after all, come on. Yeah. So there's your before, your pretty much kind of mid, then your after. I'm going to end the video here and follow up with you guys tomorrow. Thank you and have a good night. Stay safe.